When you're mentally ill, finding the right psych team is overwhelming, but the right psych team is the key to helping and healing yourself.
Sometimes realize there's no way.
You have tuned into Breaking the Mask of Depression with your host, Diva with Depression.
Just waiting back.
Hey guys, welcome back to Breaking the Mask of Depression with me, your host, Diva with Depression. I'm so happy to be here with you guys again. I had to take a little break. A lot of stuff going on, but mostly my babies are doing big things, so I took a break so I can, bask in the pride. You parents know what I'm talking about. Did you guys miss me? I hope you did. I would feel really bad if you didn't. I miss you guys, but I still got to speak to a lot of you via social media and email. So I'm so grateful for all of the support that I receive and for you guys staying in touch. So let's just get into it because I have a lot of information for you today. And I have to start off by saying, y'all know that I'm not a doctor. Ain't no ABCs in my name, nothing. I'm just sharing information that I've acquired over the years and recently, meeting people that in the mental health field and, getting more information about their organization. So I ain't a doctor, y'all. I ain't a doctor, but I want to say that because, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm giving them medical advice when I don't know shit about medicine. Well, I know shit about the medicine that I take, but I'm not a professional. So anyway, let's get into it. One of the most frequent questions I get here on the helpline, in the street, at the grocery store is, how do I find a psychological care team? And it's work, y'all. I don't want to discourage anyone. I don't want to scare anyone, but if you're gonna, if you realize that you need help and you need a psychiatrist and you need a psychologist, you have to be thorough. It's like doing an FBI check on your future mate, your soulmate, anybody dating your children, you really, really have to do the work. And I'm going to say this, if you are not able to do the work, then find somebody to help you do the work because it is a lot, but it's key to your healing. And you're going to be sharing your soul, your ass, your guts, and everything with these people. So you want to be comfortable doing it. Giving in to going to therapy and talking, that's already uncomfortable for many of us. And it's difficult, to share anyway, but to share with people that you don't know, that is rough. So you want to do your check, your background check, your Google check. Y'all know I love Google, right? So, listen, a psychiatrist is a medical doctor that is responsible for your meds. So that means that you would go to a psychiatrist first. Psychiatrists will diagnose you. A psychiatrist will choose your medications and choose your dosage and help you sort of get on an even keel. They're not very chatty, sessions go from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. It may be longer. I've never experienced a psychiatrist appointment longer than 30 minutes. And every psychiatrist is different because I had a psychiatrist that had his back to me and just said, did it work? Should you change it? What's the side effect? He never even fucking looked me in the eye. He was just horrible. And then I had another psychiatrist that he was so chatty that I think I felt like his therapist. We would just be talking and talking. So, it depends on, there are some great doctors out there. And so you really, really want to make sure that you get a cool psychiatrist because they are going to be in charge of your medication. And one thing that I want to share with you is, and I tell you guys this all the time across the board, be as honest as possible. Because, listen, y'all know I'm going to keep it real. These medications can fuck you up. I mean, it's shitty taking these medications. The side effects are unfucking believable, and they are debilitating in some cases. So if you go the medicine route, and you have to be honest with the psychiatrist about your side effects, because, listen, I had one medication, and this is when I was, working with the quack that I just talked about. There was one medication that caused me to have seizures, grand mal seizures, okay? And that could be deadly. But he never researched the medication. And so, if you don't research, if you don't share, if you're not honest with them, then your dosage may be off, you may be on the wrong medication, and it could have a horrible, horrible side effect, and in some cases, it could be worse. So make sure that you are honest, because you want to get the right dosage, you want to get the right medication, and there are hundreds and hundreds of medications, and I've probably been on all of them. But you want to make sure that you get the right one so that you can get on the road to feeling better. But be honest. I have to keep saying that. Be honest. And also keep track. Like I have, I take pictures of my medication. When I have my visits with the psychiatrist, I write down what she says. I try to write down what she says. But, nowadays after your visit, you get a summary, with the listing. So keep track of that because it's across the board. So if you go to a psychiatrist on Monday and they prescribe a medication, and then you go to your primary care physician on Friday, the primary care physician wants to know everything that you're on, so keeping track. And listen, y'all, I can't remember shit, so I have to keep everything written down. But keep track of it so you will be able to communicate that to every doctor that you're going to, because the medication that you are prescribed by a psychiatrist will affect everything across the board. Your primary care doctor, if you're with a cardiology, oncologist, even a sleep doctor, I had to give a whole list. So keep track of your medications, keep track of the dosage, that's key. And when you change medications, make sure that you tell all of the doctors across the board that you're changing them, because you want to make sure that everything is up to date so everybody can treat you successfully. A psychologist is usually not a medical doctor. They are responsible for the psychotherapy part of your treatment. And listen, you heard me stutter saying psychotherapy. I just say therapist, y'all. And most therapists are talk therapists. And so that means that, the visits are usually 45 minutes to an hour. And this is the person that you're just going to have your ass out and share everything. I have had some wonderful therapists, and I actually have an amazing therapist right now. But I also had some I can't even get the word out. I've had some shit shows that I attended, and whew, it doesn't help. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a situation where you're uncomfortable, then that means that, number one, you may not ever go back. You may start to think that every therapist is going to be like that. You may not continue any treatment. Like if you won't go to therapy, you won't go back to the psychiatrist, you ain't going to take your meds. That's not healthy. So I want to make it clear that you may get it right on the first try, and you may get it right on the 10th try. But don't stop trying until you're comfortable. And you'll know right away. I know that when you go to the first, appointment with a therapist, then it's usually just doing intake stuff and talking about your background and medication and family and different things. The therapist is trying to get to know you. But by the third time and you start vibing, you usually know whether they are a good fit for you. And if they're not a good fit, change right away. The longer you sit there and have sessions, the harder it is for you to change. And I understand being afraid of change. I understand being scared to do it. You don't want to offend the therapist. And so some of us stick around, and I've done it. I've done it. Usually, like, I know one time I stayed for like 4 sessions when I knew from day one that this woman didn't like me, and her cultural background didn't mesh with mine, and she was horrible. And I still went to her every single time for like 4 sessions, and I shouldn't have. I should have left right away and went to a different, started searching for a different therapist. So don't stick around, because when you are living with a mental illness, talk therapy is major. Like, you really have to, everything that's in your brain, think about it, is like I always say, a hamster on a wheel. It's just going, and there's no way. I don't give a fuck how many journals you write in. I don't give a fuck how many diaries you have. When you're stuck in on that hamster wheel, you cannot make sense of your thoughts. You cannot gather the meaning of things, So when you go to a therapist, they help you sort out your thoughts. They help you figure out what incidents contributed to where you are now. They help you deal with trauma. They help you deal with family issues. And, when you're by yourself and when you're just sitting there and you're thinking of all these things, you don't know how to solve things. But a therapist and talking to someone, guys, I can't tell you how much it helps. And I have severe depression. I mean, like, it's horrible. But I get off my ass and I go to therapy every week or every 2 weeks. Even if I don't leave the house for the other 6 days, I still go to therapy, because I know that, number one, it makes me leave the house. But number two, somebody is going to be able to make sense of my dribble that's in my head. Even if it's for 45 minutes, she may be able to solve one thing. If I'm ruminating about something that I said to my kids, I talk to her about it, and she can, sort it out and make it plain and make it easier for me to digest. So don't stick around. If you have to leave, you don't have to make an announcement if you don't want to. If you do want to let them know that they're not the right fit, then just do that too. Therapists, they understand. They really do understand, because they know if they're not a perfect fit. And also therapists have different methods, modalities, I think it's called. Like EMDR, which is treatment used for trauma. Dialectical behavioral theory, CBT and DBT, which are behavioral therapies that change your mindset. Though I hate the ABCs. I call them the ABCs, CBT and DBT. And I will tell you that when you go if you're ever inpatient, that's all they talk about. And that's why every time I go in the hospital, it's like DBT this, CBT this, and I just got fucking tired of it. But I will tell you that there are parts of it that are really, really helpful. And there are therapists that specialize in that. Hypnosis. Some therapists do hypnosis. There's many different areas that some specialize in. So usually after a couple of sessions, they can, I won't say they will, but they can ask you if you're interested in pursuing that avenue. When I started with my current therapist, EMDR was not ever discussed until she realized how severe my trauma was and my PTSD was. And then that's something that she suggested. And it's always a suggestion, and they always usually give you time to research it, because I research, y'all know I love Google. So as soon as something is said to me, I go home and I research it, and you could review, read people's reviews and how they felt coming out of, the sessions and the different types of psychological methods. Hypnosis, I've never done the hypnosis part. I'm scared to be hypnotized because I don't know. I don't have any control over what I'm saying. I think that's what it is. We see shit on TV, and you see psychosis, hypnotists, and they snap their fingers and you start barking like a dog or clucking like a chicken or something like that. So, that's a joke, and it is something that may occur, but I don't think that that's what goes on. I'm just scared of not being in some type of control. So, research everything. Hypnosis, CBT, DBT, EMDR. Look for those types of therapies, research them, and ask your therapist if that's something that you want to pursue. Some are specialists in ADHD, some are specialists in PTSD and veteran psychological care. So there are many options out there, but you have to make sure that you do the work, the background work, and I'll do a separate episode one day, and I will explain all of these different modalities to you, the EMDR and the ECT. If you go to my blog, Diva with Depression on WordPress, I did ECT treatments. I've had ECT treatments about 10 times or so, and then I had TMS, and I actually documented the TMS journey on my blog, Diva with Depression, at WordPress, on WordPress. And if you go back a few entries, you can see that I documented the TMS treatment, and I do talk about the ECT treatment. I think I talked about ECT on one of these episodes and on my blog, so you can check it out. My experience, and I'm going to say this before I get to the researching part, my experience is not your experience. Everybody has a different personality. Everybody has different wants and different needs. So listen to me talk about my experience, but also make sure that you tune me out and focus on what you need. Don't let anybody else tell you what you need. Focus on what you need. You may not need medication. You just need talk therapy. Maybe you need medication and no therapy, or you need both. But don't listen to what anybody says about what you need, because only you know what you need. And I keep saying this, but I want you to hear me. There are so many people out there. There's so many organizations that advocate for people that are living with mental illness that can't advocate for themselves. I'm one of those people. And if you go to divawithdepression.com, in the resource section, there are loads of resources there to get information about someone to help you advocate for your care. You don't have to go it alone, okay? And I talk to people all day long about and find resources for them here in North Carolina. And I've actually talked to people in other states and got information for them. I don't mind. You can always reach out to me. Instagram, Facebook, my email, LinkedIn. Do it. Don't hesitate to call. So I'm going to now tell you, as I turn the page, because y'all know I had a Google fact written somewhere, but there are many ways to search for a therapist, and you have to decide what your schedule is going to be. That's another thing that you should do. Do you want to go once a week? Do you want to go once every 2 weeks, twice a month? You just make sure you discuss that with your therapist when you find one, because it's key, to how you feel. You might not feel like talking. You want to hear a secret? For the past 3 sessions, I've told my therapist that I don't feel like talking. I don't have shit to say. My mind is so overloaded, and I'm in such a weird place. I don't have shit to say. So what she did is she decreased the time. So instead of 45 minutes, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. I still have the option to stay for 45 minutes, but she wanted to make sure that I still came, but I don't have to, stay the whole time. So you do what's comfortable for you. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you about searching is your insurance. If you have insurance, your insurance company is the first stop, because let me tell you why. Number one, if you go to your insurance company website, they will tell you what they pay for, what they cover. They will tell you what your co-payment will be, and they will also have a listing of doctors that are available in your insurance network. And that's important, because if you just go straight to a therapist, it may not be covered. There's a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists out there that don't take insurance. They have sliding scales. Some are, low cost, but there's many of them. So make sure you go to your insurance website. Number one, look at your plan and see what's covered and what's not covered, and see what your copay is. And then that can also direct you to your next step. The next the next item that I'm going to share, Psychology Today. Psychology Today is one of my favorite methods to search for a therapist or a psychiatrist. And it's so thorough. You go to Psychology Today, you put in your zip code, then they will populate the doctors in your area. But when you do filters, you can filter the gender of the doctor you're looking for. You can filter the modality, like if you want a therapist or a doctor to do hypnosis, you can filter out LGBTQIA. I mean, it's so many ways to filter, so you get down to exactly what you want. Did I say by race? You can do if you want an African American doctor, you can also, filter that out. And it's very, very thorough, and it gives you a blurb about the doctor. And then it also gives you reviews. Sometimes they have reviews about, the care in past patients or, current patients. Key. I love Psychology Today. So that's another method. The American Psychological Association, another great resource, because not only can you go on there to search for a therapist, you can also find amazing resources on there about psychological care. And so keep that in your bag of tricks. The next method is ZocDoc. And I know that you guys see, ZocDoc everywhere. And I've actually used ZocDoc a couple of times, to find a specialist when my kids were younger, to find their doctors. But ZocDoc, you can put in your zip code, and then you put in the type of doctor that you're looking for, and it will populate the doctors in your area. And they also have reviews. I think they have reviews, and they have stars. So you can filter out the amount of stars, the best doctors there. Next is findmeatherapist.org. How much more plain do you need to get? Just go in there and find a therapist. And that's another resource where you have different ways of searching. You have different options. The next one, mental health organizations in your area. Like here in North Carolina, there's Mental Health America of Central Carolinas, and they have a therapist directory. NAMI, that's, one of the organizations that I volunteer for. You call the helpline, and they will point you in the right direction to get resources. I know, on the helpline that I answer, that's one of the main things. People do call in and they're looking for help, and I'm able to point them in a direction. All of these places have resources that they can turn to provide the information for you. So don't be afraid to call the helpline. Also, the helplines nowadays, they're text lines also. So you can text and ask for the information, because if you're like me, you don't like talking on the phone. So remember NAMI and Mental Health America. I'm not entirely sure about the other what other chapters Mental Health America has, so you can also search for that. But I know that the chapter here is amazing. And so even if you go on there for resources, they have great resources. And of course, NAMI, they're all over the world, and they have amazing resources also. So call a helpline if you need it. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, that's what it's called. And, sidebar, there are a lot of people out there that have what is called a dual diagnosis. And so you're living with a mental illness and you're living with maybe a substance abuse illness, alcohol illness, and different things like that. And so SAMHSA sort of combines it, and has resources for both individually and together. And they're wonderful. I did a training with one member of that organization a couple of months ago, and they're just an amazing organization also. And they have, they have Treatment Finder on there. So, you can search by treatment, the type of treatment that you want. You can search by the doctor. There's also a crisis listing there. And what that means is that they have a listing of numbers that you can call if you feel that you're in crisis. If you feel that someone you love is in crisis, they have sort of a directory of the crisis hotlines, crisis numbers, 988, crisis text line, different helplines. So they are major. They are major help for everybody across the board. Therapy for Black girls. And I know a lot of people have heard that she is a doctor, a therapist, and she has a wonderful organization. She also has a podcast, and her Facebook, even just on Facebook, she's always open to helping people. And she has a wonderful organization. So if you are interested in that, go to Therapy for Black Girls, the site, and then the podcast. Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective, it's called BEAM, and they are another organization for Black and brown people, and they have a listing also. And so I'm telling you guys these different organizations because I want you to understand that there are so many methods out there for you to find a therapist. And because I don't want to hear no shit about why you don't have one. So I'm going to give you everything and make sure you find one. And I do have most of these on my website. Black Men Heal. I am the biggest cheerleader for Black men, Black and brown men going to therapy and getting help. I think that I want to clap for any of them that go. I think it's amazing. I know that it takes a lot for Black men to go to the therapist or the psychiatrist or any doctor for that matter. So, I love to clap when I hear about a brother going and getting some therapy. But I also understand why Black men don't want to go to organizations that are for women or just for everybody. So Black Men Heal has a therapist directory. They have an amazing Instagram page where they share a lot of information. Such a loving group of people that run that organization. So brothers, go get them. Go get your therapy. Depressed While Black. This beautiful sister, I have had the pleasure of being on different panels with her, and she's she is like a warrior. And Depressed While Black is her nonprofit organization. And she is she's another one that's a wealth of information. You know what she does? When you go to inpatient, I got stories for days, but when you go inpatient, you can't take certain things. It's a danger. So like hairspray and deodorant and different things like that. But when you go to get these supplies from them, they're not for us, meaning there's no Black hair care products. There's no bonnets. One of the last times that I was in a hospital, my hair just stood up, like I had to put it in a messy ponytail every single day because I couldn't use the products. And so what Depressed While Black, Miss Amati does is she has care bags and care packages that she takes for African American women that are inpatient. So they have the products that they need for their personal care. Go to her website, great website, and she's also very active on Twitter if you want to talk to her or read what she's got going on. And the last one is Darkness Rising. Number one, Darkness Rising has a therapist directory. Number two, I believe that they're in New York, and they have so many amazing events throughout the year. They have a big block party once a year, and vendors and people speaking. And those are the times when I wish that I was still living in New York so I can take part in these. But I get the emails and I follow them on social media, and so I see the amazing work that they do. So that's Darkness Rising. Guys, there's so many ways. When I started out on this journey many years ago, I remember the first sign of major depression in my adult life. I didn't know where to turn. The only option that I thought I had was calling my insurance company and seeing, again, what the copay was and who's open to treating me. And that's when I got one of the shitty therapists. So nowadays, there are so many ways to get help. And you're worth it. You are absolutely worth it. Even if you go to therapy and you talk about your dog, it's a way to talk to someone in a judgment-free zone. That how you always read that your friends and family are not therapists. Sometimes you don't want to share your innermost secrets with your friends or your family. Going to therapy gives you the option of talking about it to someone that will never tell your secrets, will never share what's going on in your life. So if you have the opportunity to just do therapy, do therapy. If you feel like you may need some medication, then you do that. You have the option of getting a therapist, and after talking to the therapist for 1 or 2 weeks, they'll tell you if they think, how severe your illness is and where you're at. They may suggest medication. But please go. Don't shortchange yourself. You are worthy of the best care, and you're worthy of getting healthy. So that's my spiel for today, guys. Again, my website has a listing of resources, divawithdepression.com. If you want to look at some of the blogs that I had written about these different methods, Diva with Depression at WordPress, look it up. If you have anything else that you need me to research or you need me to point you in the right direction, that it's Diva with Depression on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm even on TikTok, y'all. So please reach out, but please take care of yourself. And please think about taking that first step. I want to thank you as usual for your support, and thank you for listening. If you have anything to share with me, good or bad, something that you want to hear or something that you don't like, I'm open to it. I am always open to it. So feel free to get in contact with me and share. And I know that there are subjects that I don't have all of the subjects written down. So if you're curious about something, let me know. Y'all know me and my Google pen at 3 o'clock in the morning. I will find the answer. So follow me everywhere. Visit my website, divawithdepression.com, and get the resources and take the first step and know that I am your biggest cheerleader. Biggest. I know what it's like to be unheard and what it's like to be dismissed. And I don't want anybody in the world to have to continue living like that. So listen to what I'm saying, share what I'm saying, review what I'm saying. Even sharing, you can save a life. I say that all the time. Even if you just pass it along to one person, you can save a life. So I want to also, as usual, say thank you to Illumination Media and Technology. They do everything, y'all. So go follow them on Instagram and Facebook and look into them helping you technology-wise, because you know I don't know what I'm doing. So stay well, everyone. Find some peace. And remember, you're a superhero and you're worthy of all good things. Take care.